Hey guys, this is Hell Hades. This is a Raid Shadow Legends video. Guys, we're going to do a deep dive today. We're going to do a message to Aristocrat, a message to Plarium, basically to critique their game. Okay, and I'm coming from a position of someone who really loves Raid Shadow Legends and have played it for a long time. And I feel like we're kind of in this position where there's a moment in time, okay, and not for good reasons. There's been a pause. There's been a pause to any development. There's been a pause to what's going on because of the lunacy that's happened in the world right now. And obviously, the priority for the individuals that work for Plarium right now is safety and security, and getting some sort of normality back to their lives as soon as they can. And obviously, a lot of that's out of their control at the moment. But Aristocrat are not based in Ukraine, and they're already making plans to change where the head office is. They're already making plans to kind of change up what's going on because let's face it, Raid is a big money spinner for their business. It's a really important tool of their business. And I really want this video to be a message to them. Yeah. This is a perfect time to take a step back and just say, what's really strong with the game? What is weak with the game right now, and how can we improve it? Because I'm seeing a drop off of players. I'm seeing it, I'm feeling it, and not just because of what's going on with the invasion situation. I'm seeing it because some things have been implemented that just have been weak. They've just been weak, and it's been stuff that people have been really looking forward to, and it just hasn't landed. So let's do a deep dive on Raid. Let's say what's strong, what's not, and what should we do about it. So if you are one of the regular viewers on my channel and have not yet subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. It really helps my channel out, helps me continue to grow. So close to 150,000 subscribers. I'd love to get there. That's my little plea out the way. Now, I just want to talk about this before we get into the game kind of critique. Yeah, Aristocrat suspends mobile games in Russia. So it's a really big move, actually, for Aristocrat to do this. Obviously, it makes complete sense in terms of supporting their team, which are based out of Ukraine. It's actually financially a really bold move for Aristocrat to do this. It's quite a big percentage of their overall kind of revenues coming from the Russian market. It says 3% here. That's a significant percentage of somebody's income. And I'd be interested because I think that's of Aristocrat's overall income. I wonder how much the Russian market is for just Raid. I'd imagine it's quite big. Anyway, they're basically saying here, Aristocrat helped move or help support more than 2/3 of its Ukraine-based employees to relocate, either internationally or to safer locations within the country. I don't know how involved they were, and I'm not going to get into that. That's not what this video is about. But anything they have done, I say well done, honestly. It's been a horrendous situation for the team out in Ukraine. And, I've spoken to Zana personally on it. It's a horrendous situation. So anything they've been able to do, I'm pleased that they have. So it says here they've got about 1,000 employees in Ukraine. A new office is planned in Poland. So they're already kind of making plans to change their offices. I thought they would be doing this, okay? The game's too big to just say, this is where it's based right now. That's where it's always going to stay. They have to get the game back on track. They have to get a team back on track to be able to develop this game and keep it moving. So I'm pleased they've come out and said this. We will continue to monitor impacts given the fluid situation, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So, the purpose of my video here is to say, look, we've got a moment in time where you're having to make a change. Yeah, and it's a significant change. This is a good time to literally just do a review. And it's hard to do this when you're in the mix, yeah, when you're literally going through the weekly stuff. This is what's going on. What's next? What's next? What's the next fusion? What's the next fragment? What are you doing in development of this? It's hard to take a step back and just say, you know what? What do our players actually think of this game? What's really working for us? What's driving engagement? And actually what's turning people off? So I'm hoping that people in Aristocrat see this video and actually take some sort of stock of my view, which I think actually is a view of, it's not just my view. I'm taking on the view of a lot of feedback that I have. It's not just my personal view. I see these comments a lot. And that's what I'm going to try and share today. Raid are coming from a position of strength here. Okay, they are #1 in this genre, and rightly so. I have played near enough all of the competition to some degree. All of them come with something good, okay? So I'm not going to say nobody's got any other ideas, but they can't touch Raid in terms of depth of content, suitable challenges in their content, quality of visuals and graphics, and honestly, like longevity of gameplay. There's a lot which is brilliant in Raid. There's also some stuff which is not so good. I'm going to touch on, firstly, some of the really good stuff. Yeah, this is the reason that they're keeping that #1 spot right now. Let's talk about visuals, yeah, and quality of artwork. Every single champion, you can literally pick any champion in the game every time they drop a new batch, and you're like, damn, these look freaking awesome. Yeah, they really do an amazing job of anything visually. And in this market, no one else competes with it. No one gets even remotely close to this. Yeah, so, and one of the challenges they've got right now is the studio which produces these type of images is out of action. And, you know, that's kit that they're going to have to get either in Poland or wherever they're going to do it. But they need to get that going again, which means we're going to stop getting so many new champions coming through, unless there was already a bunch in the works, which there might have been, to be fair. But we're going to get less champions coming through. But, you know, in terms of the visuals in the game, knock it out of the park. 10 out of 10. Easily best in this sector, okay? And in terms of depth of characters, depth of champions, yeah? Also, what they knock out the park all the time is interesting champions and interactions. Yeah, people with fun kits, fun passives, which can completely change the game depending on how you use them. Someone like a Geomancer with a really crazy kit. Someone like a Cornelia that on the face of it looks rubbish, and then all of a sudden YST starts using her to solo all sorts of crazy content. Yeah, they do a good job of having enough diversity of champions and content to face that is interesting and keeps you engaged. So in terms of champs, they're in a good spot. In terms of general dungeons, yeah, I think this is actually in a really good spot as well. You've got these keeps, which are all accessible, pretty easy, but all with a slightly different mechanic. So when you're new to the game, you've got a few mechanics to overcome, but nothing too crazy. You've then got a set of dungeons, which have all got their own kind of unique style. They all need a kind of different type of team to face. And, you know, some of these are still super challenging. They make you have to think about the team you're going to bring in. They actually change. Certainly Spider does. It changes from early game to mid game to late game in terms of the type of champions that you're going to bring. They've all got their own kind of specifics, and that's cool. That's actually what you want. You want to make somebody think about how they're going to beat a boss. If you go into a game, and I've had this with a couple of games that I've played in this type of sector, if you're using the same team to beat every single thing that you do, that's actually not that fun. Yeah, you might think that's what you want, but it's not what you want because it's not engaging. The only one of these dungeons which I'm not a fan of, and it's not because of the style of fight, is Ice Golem. Ice Golem just doesn't offer a good enough selection of rewards. Honestly, things like the original life, the original offense, probably should just remove themselves from here. It should just be a campaign farmable set. And there should be a couple of other bits added into here which are a bit more interesting. Maybe, you know, something like the Relentless set comes into here. Or maybe you pull one of the good sets out of Finite, because there's loads of good sets in Finite. You know, something like a regen set, and offer it to Ice Golem. And this is what I mean. This is that kind of like moment in time. These are easy changes to make for a developer. Yeah, my development team, HH Gaming, we could do it like that. We could be like, I want to make this swap. Boss, get it done. And it would be done very quickly. This doesn't need all of the big offices in Ukraine, all of the big kits. It literally needs a developer to sit there and make that change. It's easy. Yeah. So that, I think, would just be a better blend of where this sits. But at the moment, I think Dungeons is in a good spot. Minotaurs needs to go to stage 20 now. And Minotaurs needs an auto-complete feature. Once you've completed Minotaur, whatever level, you should not have to run it again and watch it, ever, in my opinion. One of the things we're going to talk about a lot in this video is how long it takes to play the game. I've spoken about it before. I feel bad that it's kind of like a broken record, but I've got to say it because one of the biggest comments I see, Aristocrat, listen to this now. Plarium, listen to this now. You are losing players because in a post-COVID world where people are going back to work, back in their normal workplace, they do not have time to play your game. You drop new features, we don't have time to play them. Yeah, this game runs for me almost 24/7 whilst I'm doing everything else that I do. And I feel like it's a never-ending thing. And that's with someone that sits at their PC most of the day. Yeah, so some things have to change. If you do not change this, you're literally running your game into the ground. That's fact. Yeah, that is fact. You might get a load of good KPIs for it. But I'll tell you what's not a good KPI when the game falls down and stops being played. And that's the direction you're heading in with this time sink. It's not healthy to need to spend this much time in the game. This is the first one you change. It's a really simple fix. As soon as someone has completed a level in Minnow, we don't want to watch it. We're not getting that kind of cool buzz at the end. What gear piece did we get? There's nothing exciting about Minnow once you've seen it. So once we've completed a level, it should just be how many runs do you want to do? 50. Great. Autocomplete if you've got the energy. Gives you the scrolls that you need. That's it. That's all that it should be. And maybe run this to stage 20 so that we can do it quicker. Or, you know, if it's autocomplete, fine, leave it at 15. If it's not, take it up to 20. But this has to change. The super raids in dungeons I like, and I think they should just be available all the time. Running for 2 lots of items with double the energy. I think that's enough, actually. I don't think you need to auto-complete dungeons because actually people should be building teams that are quicker or more efficient or whatever. So super raids, just turn them on all the time. Give Ice Golem a bit more in terms of item drops. And I think this page would be in a pretty healthy spot. So let's move on. We've done dungeons. The campaign is kind of fine. You know what? You get through it. I think there should be a bit of a tweak to Nightmare. The rewards are just better. Yeah, it's a hard... If you want to farm this, it's actually pretty damn tough. So, you know, give people more incentive to do it. Literally, once they've beaten stage 7, everyone just goes back to... Or 99% of people just go back to Brutal and farm stage 3 in Brutal. What a stupid system. I've never known it in a game before that you get to a higher level and you don't stay there. And the main thing is the silver return. The experience return's actually fine. The silver should be way better farming Nightmare than it is farming Brutal. It just should be. And silver's a bit of a problem in the game, especially for a newer player. So, you know, you're just not letting people, or you're not pushing people to do what they should be doing. I also think in campaign, if you're on Nightmare level, any of these zones should be able to drop rare pieces. Yeah, so just, again, giving people the chance to farm up gear items that are a bit more relevant to their account in a spot where you're also farming up experience for your champions. So that's just a small tweak to campaign, but I think campaign's generally in a good spot. You get good rewards along the way. It's challenging enough, and it kind of gets you in the mix. So that's not in a terrible spot, but just Nightmare needs a bit of a rethink. Faction Wars is pretty unique, honestly, to games of this type from what I've seen. And it's actually a really good addition to the game. It gives you a reason to build out other champions. It gives you a challenge in terms of getting Lydia. I think Faction Wars is actually a really cool part of the game. And alongside that, you get resources which go into the Forge, which we'll talk about in a minute. And you get glyphs, both of which I really like in the game. I think they're both fantastic features. Glyphs, the only thing I would change is I would have the max glyph have less leeway in it. So when you look at a max glyph on anything, let me see if I can just show you one quick. Any of the max glyphs, instead of a 3 to 8, when you want a max, it should be like 4 or 5 to 8. Same with speed. Like, you just got too big a boundary here. and it becomes really frustrating. They're so hard to get. They should just be different. But other than that, again, glyphs I think are a good addition to the game, and I think they're a good spot in the game. So faction was pretty solid. So far, we're covering stuff off, and it's like, damn, this game is feeling solid. It's in good spot, right? Well, I'm going to leave PvP to last because PvP is in a terrible spot. It's in a terrible place. That is something which absolutely needs to be reworked. It's just terrible right now. It's shocking. From anything from an early game player to a late game player, PvP is not fun and it's not engaging right now. Let's talk about clan boss then. 2 clan bosses now. The Demon Lord, the original clan boss. What a great bit of content we've got here in clan boss. From an early player that can get in the mix on easy and actually feel like they can make a difference within the first week. You know, I'm a month in on the free to play. I've started to take on hard, and I feel like as I advance my champions, I'm getting better and better fights going on. I'm starting to be able to start to take myself through, get towards kind of mid to end game, and the challenge ramps up, but also the rewards ramp up alongside it, and it's worth doing. It's a daily drop of goodies, and there's always that feeling of, am I going to get my shard today? Am I going to get my book today? I think Clan Boss, the original, is in a fantastic spot. I think what a great bit of content. It's the most engaging part of content of the game for me. I love it. I think they've done a great job of it. And it's suitable from early player right through to end game player. So think about that. Think about what I'm saying there in terms of the recipe for success. Because if we then look at Hydra, this was the big drop of this year. And honestly, it's possibly the worst content in the game right now. Arena is with Arena, you're like that. Which one? Hydra is awful content. If I am, let's say you don't want an early game player to do it because you didn't put an easy mode in here. Honestly, why not? Why wouldn't you want somebody coming into the game, maybe they hit level 30 and they get an easy mode? You don't have to have the same mechanics on easy that you've got on Nightmare. Don't have to have that. So why wouldn't you have an easy mode where there's only like 2 heads that you're fighting and they don't respawn as different heads? Yeah, and their damage is way less, and you're able to do more work. Perhaps you've got 2 main heads and then you've got 2 heads which are basically adds without abilities that, or have got very, very minimal abilities. You don't need this boss with 86 different mechanics coming at you. It's too much. You've put too much into it to try and make it impossible to be unkillable against, impossible to speed tune, impossible to this, impossible to auto. That's not what makes your game fun. That is not, the challenge should not be how much time can I make them spend on it. It's just not the way it should have gone. And this is that, I've said it, this is the moment in time where you need to reflect and say, this isn't working for the game. It's dropped. Look at my clan. Nobody does it. Nobody does it. I'm in an endgame clan and nobody wants to do Hydra. Yeah, as opposed to Clan Boss, which is out daily, and people do it daily. Like, this is out weekly and people don't want to do it. It's just terrible content. It's really bad right now. And it's because you've got too much RNG. You've got too many factors to bring in on every single fight. You've got to change this content. It scales too hard, too quickly for people that want to get in on the early level. Even I've got a super endgame account. On some rotations, I'm 1 keying hard. On others, I'm not. Could I probably, if I really, really, really put the effort in, I probably could. It's too hard, too quick. There's too much going on all the time for a normal human. Okay? It's not good. Earlier levels. Remove some of the complexity. Do not have 4 heads worth of mechanics going on. Do not let them respawn as a completely random head. Maybe that's the super ultra nightmare level. Yeah, but It shouldn't be that way. The rewards are absolute trash. Crap. Absolutely crap. I'm not engaged about these rewards at all. And we'll talk about these gear sets in a minute, because these gear sets are completely toxic for the game. So almost everything about Hydra right now is awful. You need to reflect on this. Aristocrat, you have to reflect on this, because it is super important that it gets in there. This content is not good, and it is turning off a lot of your players. A lot of your players came back to see it because they've waited for it for over a year, and they've played it and they hate it. They really do. It's terrible content. So Hydra has to be rethought. You've got to. If you don't, you will continue to lose players. One clan boss, great formula. It's amazing. Second clan boss, just completely over the top ridiculous. Okay, let's talk about Doom Tower. Doom Tower, I actually think, is great content. And I think what a clever system that, you know, you bought out now, what, 8 overall bosses, is it? Or maybe 10? Lots of different bosses to face. Yeah, lots of different bosses, and lots of different challenges. The waves are challenging, perhaps a bit too challenging in places, but, you know, whatever. That's being a bit pedantic, I think. Some of the bosses may be a bit overtuned. The only one I would call out as too much is Bommel. And the only thing I would change on Bommel, honestly, is I think the bombs explode for too much damage. And that's I'm being picky here, because I think actually Doom Tower generally is great content. If the bombs exploded for, you know, like, I don't know, 20%, or there was another mechanic other than freeze to stop these bombs exploding and just killing your team, then I think it would be much better content. And especially on on normal mode, the bomb shouldn't do anywhere near the same sort of damage as they do on 90 hard. If you change that one thing, Bommel becomes a great boss fight as well. And all of Doom Tower has got suitable challenges, fun fights, and I think it's great content. I really do. I think it's a great job. So Doom Tower, I think, is actually in a good spot. And I would encourage you to keep coming out with new bosses for it. It's fun. It's exciting. It takes time to learn them. But it's been one of the best content drops for the game of recent times, by a long way. Compare this to Hydra. Hydra shouldn't even be in the game. We should have just had another couple of bosses if we couldn't deal with thinking up a good clan boss. So Doom Tower, good content for me. Now, the thing which needs to change on Doom Tower, and you've just brought in super raids. Yeah, super raids as of today, as of me recording this video today, are live. Which means that I can use 2 keys instead of 1 in a go. Now, let's get back to that time sync. That is not enough. It's a start. It's nowhere near enough. And I've said this a number of times. I'm going to say it again right now. Once I have beaten a boss today, it has to be on that day. For the rest of the day, I can just auto the rest of my 15 keys without watching any of the fight. I've already beaten it today. I don't need to watch it again. I've seen it. I've seen it, and it was lovely. I appreciate the visuals. I don't want to see it again for the rest of the day. Give me the full 15 keys worth of resource, worth of rewards there and then. The game takes too long. This is somewhere where you have to improve it. This takes too much of my time. I leave it auto running while I do other stuff. Fine. I'm lucky. I'm in a position of... But I still don't want to do that. I don't want to have to be like, oh, right, have I set this up for the next 45 minutes, an hour, whatever, to auto run? Shouldn't have to do that. Don't make me do that. Yeah, don't make me do that. It's kind of the same on Faction Wars, really. Once you've beaten a level for the day, have to beat it for the day, so you're not just moving all your gear somewhere else, then it should just be, I can use as many keys as I want, and I'll just get max rewards for that day. Should just do it. Turn that on. Yeah, as I say, my development team in HH Gaming could just make that happen. That's just a quick coding change. Yeah, that's not something that needs all of the kit, all of the 1,000 people in the office to do it. You could just hire a freelance developer to get into the code and make that work. Honestly, just get some of these time changes in play as soon as you possibly can, because you're losing players because they don't have time to play your game. Okay. Let's talk about the last area then, which is Arena. It's not the last area, actually. I'm going to talk about rewards after this as well. Arena for an early game player is horrendous. It's a horrendous experience. Arena for a late game player is a horrendous experience. That's the normal arena. And you know what's happened? You've released item after item after item after item, which makes the arena less and less enjoyable. Yeah, you released Swift Parry gear. And I believe this one was a mistake. You released a gear set which looks like an offense gear set. More speed, crit damage, and then a chance to stay alive if you take a hit. In your head, you were probably thinking, this gives those offensive people like a Trunda or whoever, an Ethos, a chance to take a hit but still get their damage away. It gives you a chance to not win the speed race and still win. Unfortunately, it was adopted by the super brains of the game, and they were like, well, hold on a minute. 50-50 that I won't die. I'm just going to put that on all my tanks. And then I'm going to put this unkillable tank team in defense, and it's like, what are you going to do about it? Yeah, so that was unfortunate. What you did was you released RNG into the way to win the game. The trouble is you didn't stop there. You then went and said, well, people seem to be putting the RNG stuff on a lot. Why don't we release reaction gear? When this was talked about, every single creator, every single person in comments said, that set seems dumb. It seems broken. When you've got 3 pieces on, 75% chance that crits become normal hits. Okay, so now we've got a tank team which will only take normal hits, and they've got Swift Parry on, and it's just kind of like, who's ever dying through that? So the arena got more and more toxic because of these different things that you've been releasing. And then you go and allow +4 empowerment, which everyone told you was a dumb idea. Everyone told you it was a dumb idea to do it, but you did it anyway because you want whales to spend more money. I get it. But this was not the way to do it. And actually what you've done is you've created a more toxic environment where people just can buy their way to win in the arena. Anything PvP should not be so pay to win. Yeah? Empowerment should be turned off for PvP. That's my view. It's fine for PvE. You've paid your way to beat content in PvE. I don't actually care about that. If you pay your way to beat all of the content in PvP, it's not great for the game. There's no longevity in that because it has a very small, it has a massive impact on a wide player base, and there's only a small group of players that are actually able to do it. It's not healthy for the game. So we've got this kind of cascading thing, and then to top it all off, if you haven't done enough to ruin PvP in this game, you then release 2 sets which are just so dumb. They're so dumb. Protection set. Protection set. Good stats and all that type of stuff. 30% chance to protect buffs cast by the wearer. You also release stone skin gear. The worst gear set you ever could have released in a game like this. For 2 turns, it doesn't even matter if you're wearing the most shit stone skin gear that exists. For 2 turns, you basically don't take any damage. It's just so dumb. A 50-50 RNG on it as well in terms of whether it can be removed or not. It's so dumb. It really is like the brain power to realize that all of these things grouped together don't create a fun environment. It doesn't need a lot. It needs a minute amount of brain power to realize that. Minute. Literally like the smallest amount can realize that that does not create a fun environment. So if this was my game, I would turn off empowerment in PvP. And I'll tell you what I would do. Massively backscale on these numbers. Yeah, if you want an RNG game, then It shouldn't be an RNG game for PvP. Yet 25% per reaction piece? No. Maybe like 7.5% per reaction piece. Swift parry, 50-50. Maybe swift parry, 25%. Stone skin, 50% chance to block the removal? No. Like 15% chance. It should not be so weighted in favor of the defender. It's just dumb. It makes for a really crap system. You've also just got straight up, you know, for people to progress through the early stages, as we see on my free-to-play in the videos that I've done, it's way too challenging. It's way too tough. And you gate so much behind Arena that if people don't want to do PvP, well, they kind of got to do it. So Arena just needs like a full rework. The system of a 4v4 type Arena just makes some sense. That's cool. But actually, the stuff in the background of it is just terrible. And then Tag Team Arena. I mean, where do I even start with this? It's just... So, there's no incentive to do it. In fact, I'm just going back to Arena for a second. You get a weekly reward, which is basically trash. You sell all of the reward. Even if you get into Plat, it's basically trash. Gold 5 is awful stuff. Anything below Gold 4, you sell it all straight away. Literally all gone. You get like 20 gems for the week or something. It is ridiculous what rewards you get for what you do in Arena, which makes no one really want to do it. Unless you're pushing for Plat and you want the avatar or something like that, there's really no point to do it. And it's even worse for 3 versus 3 Arena. It's not change its name. There is no tag team Arena going on here. All there is classic Arena times 3. You need to listen. I know this video is going on, and I'm sorry it's long. You've got to listen to this feedback. This is not enjoyable content. Well, it wouldn't be bad if we weren't already doing the Arena, I guess, but we already are. There is no incentive to push on. Everybody's got the same shop, whether you're in, you know, low levels or higher levels. You only get the really good stuff if you're in gold, but I get the same in gold 1 as I do in gold 4. Once you've got Drex, there's really no point in pushing this stuff. It's not. You've made it trivial, because being in gold 4, pushing... Why isn't there like a top 3 versus 3 per week? Why is there not a top 200 players per week that get additional rewards? Why is there no competition in a PvP game mode? It doesn't make any sense. It literally makes no sense. If you'd actually built a tag team system, this could have been good fun, by the way. 3 versus 3. But if you keep somebody alive through a fight, they can go into your next team, and you decide of the champions you've got left, which 3 go in. Honestly, I feel like it could have been such a good system. You've not listened to any feedback along the way. It's in, so you've left it. Now's your time to change it. This is meant to be the year of PvP. Well, I tell you what, right now, it's not. It's a shoddy PvP game. So this has to change. PvP has got to be totally reworked. Tag Team Arena, make it a Tag Team Arena. Change it. Have some balls. Actually change it. Because people don't enjoy it right now. And there's no... And even if people are enjoying it, there's no incentive to do it. Your bazaar could be amazing. There's so much stuff that could go in the bazaar. You could get past fusion champion fragments. You could get glyphs in here. You could get different gear sets in here, which are hard to collect. There's so much stuff that could be in here. I don't get it. I don't get why nobody is changing this stuff. Because it would absolutely drive the engagement of this game mode. This also takes too long to play. So I don't need 20 of these tokens a day. I need like 5, but I want 4 times the reward. That's what I want. Because it takes too long in this game mode. Way too long. So, I mean, we've covered off a lot. The Forge, I love. I think the Forge has got some really cool sets. I would rework some of the crap sets, personally. You know, some of the sets which are just useless right now, like Affinity Breaker. This shouldn't be a 20% chance. It should be like an 80% chance to change from a weak to a crit. Yeah, there's some sets in here which are really good. Perception, Swift Parry, Untouchable's not bad. What else we got? Bloodthirst is okay. Guardian set is cool. Fortitude is cool. Lethal is cool. So generally, the gear sets are actually kind of good in the Forge. I think the Forge was a brilliant content drop. I think the dupe system, apart from the empowerment, is actually a success. I think Faction Guardians is a great piece of content. The empowerment, I think, is absolute trash. And no one in their right mind would ever redeem a token trader because you've priced these way too high. Like, way too high. You're about twice the price they should be to make this useful. Also, if you're going to make them this sort of silly price, you should just open it up to all champions in the game. Because at the minute, it's just stupid. This is absolutely stupid. So, this Faction Guardian would have been enough, though, for the dupe system for me. I think this actually does the job really well. The other two elements, basically trash. So, look, I've been harsh, but honest. I've been honest. The game takes too long to play. A lot of the original content is fantastic. The Doom Tower I really enjoy. But you do need to look at Arena, and you need to look at Hydra, and you need to look at how much time people have to play this game for on a day-to-day basis. It's the moment to do it, Aristocrat. It's the moment to do it, Plarium. There's a reset going on. Use it to actually move the game on. Otherwise, I think you're going to continue to lose players. Anyway, it's a long one. If you stayed, thank you very much. I've been Hell Hades. I will see you later.